guys, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. It's Takeover Tuesday here on the Paddle and Fin Network. Let's get this show kicked off.
You're watching the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. Welcome to the Rusty Hook Podcast, presented by Feelfree Kayaks. Paddle, pedal, or power, there's something for everyone. ZPRO Lithium, serious power for serious anglers. DuBro Fishing, American marine application and soft plastics. Big Lake Bait Company, Texas's #1 custom bait maker. Raw and unfiltered. Streaming on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Bringing you gear reviews and candid interviews from the industry's best. Angler profiles, tournament news, and legendary knowledge from kayak fishing's best. Grab that cold drink and get settled in. Now here's John Rapp, our host.
All right. It's Takeover Tuesday here on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. John Rapp here. Rusty Hook Podcast. I'm streaming live via Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and X, formerly Twitter. You can see us here on the West Virginia Kayak Anglers page. West Virginia. We are also streaming in Illinois on Paddle and Fin, TPO over in Colorado, and everywhere else that people are sharing the show. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe all those pages. And check out the notes on the show. Got links for the 3 guys that are joining me tonight. So it's a pretty good show. We all just got back from Lake Erie. And some of us, Tony, for one, that's going to be on the show, has been up with us a couple years. And he can pretty much tell you that we didn't have the best weather or best conditions, or even the fish weren't biting like they normally have been, but we still had a great time. We had Doug Kay joined us, and we had a rookie, Mike Oglesby join us. What's funny about this, and when I bring these guys on, is Mike and Tony. I've known those guys for over 20 years, worked with the same company. We all worked in the same company together for a while, but we never actually got to work together. And then, of course, Doug, I've been waiting to meet this guy for the last 2 years because he's been part of the Lake Erie trips. But 2 years ago, he took a trip to the doctor. Then last year, he went to Florida to fish with his son. So I'm going to bring these gentlemen on. Let's give them a warm welcome. And if you got any comments for them or any shout-outs, make sure you do it in the comments section. And if you got any razzing that you want to do, which we really want you to do, please throw it up so I can share it in the comments. Doug, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Tony, hey, buddy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Big Mike, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Man, I appreciate you guys jumping on and hanging out for the next 45 minutes or so and talking about our experiences up north. So let's start off here. I want to bring up let's go with you, Doug. Doug, talk to us a little bit about your experiences, and a little bit about you, your socials, how you got into kayak fishing now, and what you're doing now is running one of the clubs, and just give us a little rundown on you.
Well, I'm Florida, kind of like Cracker. I was raised down there since I was 5, and I moved back up to West Virginia in 2009. So I've been fishing most of my life, been around the water all my life. Got involved in kayak fishing because I never really bass fished in Florida, even though it's got some great lakes and that. I was always out in the Gulf of Mexico. Got into bass fishing and kayak fishing by persuasion. A girl I was dating at the time, she wanted to do more than just float around in a canoe, and walked into this kayak shop and told me we got to go in there. And the next thing I know, I'm buying a kayak. So,
sweet,
which was a really good kayak, Jackson Coosa HD. Everybody knows that one. So that got me into it, and then I also got involved in the clubs in the state, Mountain State Kayak Anglers, and then later with Southern West Virginia Kayak Anglers, which I'm involved in now. Really liked the people, the whole camaraderie of the tournaments and the groups and people that fish kayaks, not just necessarily in the clubs, but even outside that. The kayak people seem to have a different look on fishing and sharing the waters and that.
Right.
I've been involved with Southern West Virginia kayak anglers for about 4.5 years now, and got on board with being part of the board last year, and then ended up being the managing director, as you would say, this year because the president at the time decided he didn't want to do it anymore, so he bailed on us. I'm
That
gonna
happens.
get in trouble for that one, that's for sure. But
Oh, hey, I understand that happens.
well, he put
I
in a
did.
lot of years.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah,
So
you put in a lot of years, and it gets to the point where it's like I just can't do this anymore. It's too much,
yeah,
and so got involved with that. I've honed my techniques of bass in West Virginia because I've never fished bass before that, and learning from not catching anything for many weeks at a time, and then finally catching my first bass, and going from there, and then getting involved with the smallmouth as well as the largemouth, and fishing rivers and lakes and that. I tend to like lakes more. They're usually a lot kinder to me because I'm not one of those top 10 anglers. I just like to fish. I have fun. I can catch a couple of fish every once in a while.
yeah.
Sometimes they're big.
We got to see that in up at Lake Erie.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, I did. Had a good day Saturday.
yeah. Speaking of Lake Erie, hey, Tony, let's bring Tony on and hear from him about a little bit about how he got started and what he fishes out of.
Well, first of all, Doug got lucky and caught a few fish.
Ain't that the truth? We all know.
Yeah, but I've been fishing most of my life. We used to go to Summersville when I was a little kid, and the people we went camping with took me fishing. And I caught a bluegill, so I was hooked after that. So I've been fishing ever since I was probably in elementary school. Brian Grayley got me into fishing. First, we had inflatable pontoons. So I started fishing with him, and then we graduated to kayaks. And then he told me about the Southern West Virginia kayak anglers, the group they had. He really liked some of the people in that, so we ended up joining that group. I think that was probably 4 or 5 years ago to start fishing with them. And then when I got my kayak, actually I got it from Donna, Doug's girlfriend.
Doug's girl, yeah.
I ended up getting a Pro Angler 14 because I wanted something that would hold my weight and that I could, that's pretty sturdy, that I could stand up on. Isn't that right, Doug?
Yeah, right.
There's folks. There'll be more onto that here shortly, folks. More on
Oh
that.
yeah,
Shortly.
oh yeah.
But I ended up because it's a pedal drive, which I love. But I ended up getting a Torpedo 1103 because I wanted something that I didn't have to do all the work all the time. If I wanted to go upstream, a couple miles or whatever, I could just use that trolling motor instead of using my legs.
Amen.
So, but yeah, I really love it. It's fishing is fun. I get to meet people like well, I already knew you and Ove, but
Yeah.
made a lot of new friends on the lakes and the rivers.
Right. Definitely. So, what are you fishing out of now? A PA 14?
Yeah, PA 14, and then for the rivers, shallow rivers, I have a Hobie Lynx as well.
Okay.
So
what is your fishing method of choice? What do you normally fish? How is it fast?
Trolling.
Slow.
Finesse fisherman.
I'm a Ned rig person.
Finesse man. I got you. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
Of choice right now.
Well, let's bring on the rookie here, Tony, and let's see what he has to say.
All right.
Hey, Mikey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, can you tell us how long you've been kayak fishing?
I've been kayak fishing since last Thursday.
We know you're now addicted to the sport, but I know you've been fishing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a fisherman. You're just now changing the way you approach it. You're not standing on a bank or on a big boat, but you're now down on the water in a kayak. Tell us a little bit about your fishing history and your techniques that you normally use.
Yeah, I owe all of my fishing interest to my father. He got me started not long after I started walking, and we fished bluestone most of my life, and mostly a catfish and crappie fisherman up until I was in middle school, and then we started trout fishing. Still using bait, trout fishing, some spin rigs, Joe flies, and things like that on most of the creeks back home. Spent a lot of time on Glade Creek.
Yeah.
Spent a little bit of time on Indian Creek. And then I kind of got out of fishing in that last career that we shared.
Right.
I kind of got super busy and didn't fish often, just sparingly. My dad, in the meantime, he never quit. He's still at it all the time. He may be fishing right now, matter of fact.
Awesome.
But he's had several boats, and he's had us on boats. He's got an ocean boat, and we've been out in the ocean and fished and caught tuna and things like that. And about 7 years ago, I decided I was getting closer to the age of retirement, and I figured I wanted some challenge, so I started fly fishing. And for the last 7 years, I've been hopping around fly fishing. I've fished in Wisconsin and New Mexico and Colorado a couple times.
Dang, that's awesome.
I do a lot of blue line fishing back home here, though. I love the mountains. I love the solitude, and I love getting out and away. And the prettiest fish in the world, the brook trout, lives in the prettiest places in the world, and I like to get out and stretch my legs, get a little bit of exercise, and breathe that clean mountain air.
Amen.
Fishing for those. But yeah, Tony talked to me about a year and a half ago and told me about this place. I met Buddy Vance the first time, and we all chatted it up about going kayak fishing. And I didn't buy a kayak last year. And I didn't plan to buy one this year. I actually borrowed a kayak that I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in as far as standing up and doing what I was told that we needed to be able to do at Presque Isle.
Yeah.
So
standing definitely helps your sight up there.
Right. And I'm a big guy. You know, I'm 6'3", 300 pounds. The day before we were to leave, I drove from my home in Putnam County to Beckley and purchased a new canoe unlimited from Elevations up there in Beckley. And I knew that just doing a little bit of research online that should hold me as long as I did my part. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Staying upright, yeah.
But as far as weight rating and what I want to do, I think that kayak's going to do me well. I'll be able to fish rivers and lakes, and I'll be able to put gear on it. And I like outdoors camping and things like that. I hope to do some camping trips on it too.
Well, I tell you, we've done floats down the New River. I'm sure Tony and Doug have probably done these, but we go over to the Virginia side, start off in Virginia, and float our way down to Shanklin's Ferry. I know you guys know John Gillespie and Chuck Maynard and all those guys. We've done 3-day floats where we would pack up, there was like 8 of us, and we we would stop and camp, take our time fishing. Speaking of a Gillespie, there's a little Robert, that's John's son, saying hello. And hey, Doug, I got a question. I got a comment here you might be able to help this young lady with. Sarah Cripps from up Bridgeport area. She's new to kayak fishing. How do I join clubs?
Well, Southern West Virginia Kayak Anglers has Facebook page that you can search out. You would look for Southern West Virginia Kayak Anglers, and you would ask to join. There's a couple of questions you got to answer, and then one of us, one of the board, will get in touch with you about what to do with it. Now, our club has an annual membership fee of $25, unless you're a first responder, military, which then it's only $20. The tournaments will range anywhere from $35 to $40 if you're going to fish the tournaments, but that includes a lot of fees being covered, and as well as the money pot for the big bass. A lot of times that's really what draws in a lot of anglers, is getting a good big bass pot.
Right. Yeah, we ran a tournament. Paddle and Fin here ran a tournament down at Del Holla earlier this year, back in April, and our big bass payout each day was over $1,500.
Wow.
So, hey, Doug, speaking of which, our good buddy wants to rub it in a little bit. I don't know if you saw this, but right there. Tell Doug I topped his 20-inch smallie at Erie. And Sarah, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Make sure you go check out. There's 3 pages. Doug talked to you about Southern West Virginia Kayak Anglers. They're a premier club that run a lot of events around the state. We got a sister club. It's called Mountain State Kayak Anglers. They do some stuff around the state. And then there's the West Virginia Kayak Anglers page. They're not currently running tournaments this year, but they're very active as well. Buddy Vance just made this post.
You have to read it.
We need a plan, a float trip, and camp from our yaks. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's something that we should probably do here between now and the end of September. Take a 2 or 3 day trip somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, Buddy knows where the fish are, so.
Oh yeah, Buddy knows.
Well, we all have Pennsylvania licenses now, so we could go to
Yeah, we go.
That sounds like we could go camp up there. And little Robert, appreciate that, buddy. I'd like to get back down to Santee. All these guys need to go down to Santee and do a little fishing here. And then we got, let's see, Eric just made a comment. The E White with WS, I hear guys say they have a team. What do they mean by team? I know most tournaments are individuals. So there are some team tournaments, Eric. I don't know if Doug, y'all have any team events this year?
We're not running teams this year.
Yeah.
We had very low participation last year, so we decided it really wasn't worth the hassle to do all that and score it and everything else and keep track of it. And it hasn't seemed to change anything.
Yeah, I understand that. And Eric, what he's talking about is, over the years, the last 10 years, we've all been running clubs. There's normally a 2-man team that you can set up on Tourney X, you and somebody else, and it'll score both y'all's fishes, and it can run in conjunction with the individual series tournaments. So it's just extra work for the tournament directors. And if you only have 4 or 5 teams, it's really not worth doing. And I understand what Doug is saying there. Brandy, I think she's liking that she's liking that overnight camping. But I agree, man. You guys were talking, I think it was Mikey was saying, we got those Pennsylvania license. Why don't we just grab us a couple of 10 by 10 camps and go up there, and we'll take over that beach up there, as long as we don't get flooded out.
Yeah, you're right.
Tie an anchor to your big toe. You won't go anywhere.
Yeah, or you know what? A Ned rig on a rope works pretty good too.
When it hangs on somebody else's anchor line, it does. Yeah.
So, hey guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out here. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Feelfree Kayaks. Paddle, pedal, or power. Something for everyone. DuBro Fishing. Marine products for fresh or saltwater adventures. ZPRO Lithium. Serious power for serious anglers. Big Lake Bait Company. Texas's #1 custom soft plastics.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. We've covered a little bit of topics here. We've got to introduce the guys, Mike, Tony, and Doug, and got a few laughs, answered a few questions. We'll bring the guys back on now. We're going to talk a little bit more about our trip up to Lake Erie. Doug, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Tony, Mikey, all right, got the boys back in the show. So hey, let's talk a little bit about Lake Erie. I know that was Mike's first real kayak fishing experience. And my God, what a way to kick it off!
Man,
He's
how
good.
do you top
it? You can't. You're ruined, bro. I hate to tell you this, Tony. You're ruined.
I know.
Totally spoiled.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, man, you hook up and you think, oh, I got another 17-inch smaller, and you're reeling an 8-inch fish. You know.
Right.
Welcome back to West Virginia.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about some of the things that we did while we were up at Erie. I mean, I know you guys came up and fished started Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
First of all, we all stayed at Airbnbs. I mean, it was a move, Tony, from where we've stayed at the last couple of years. You guys stayed in a different house than I did this year. How was your experience with where you're at now?
Yeah, I liked where we were. One, I liked because it was a lot closer, and it was a nice neighborhood that we were in. And, you know, I felt a little bit more at ease having my kayak sitting outside overnight.
Yeah. It was awful close to the road where we were at the last couple of years, and right next to a bar, stuff like that. So I could agree with that. Our little house that we were at was a pretty nice little place. It was cozy. Had a nice big yard where we had plenty of parking. Not like what you were saying, where we were right on the road. Right. I think the only thing I missed was the capability of just parking our stuff and walk across the street and eating together and stuff. Right. You know, because where we were driving after we were eating for 30 minutes, eating in town. So as soon as we got back, I'm sure you guys did the same thing. I did. As soon as I got back, jumped in the shower. 15 or 20 minutes later, I was out getting ready for the next day, sleeping. So.
Yes.
That would have
sleeping
been
hard.
Yeah,
sleeping hard.
We're back.
Hey, man.
He was in the bed.
I'm the only guy here that doesn't have any power on his boat, right? So I paddled every day, everywhere we went. When I got in the bed, it was lights out.
Hey, wait. That's not the only thing, bro. Yeah, Doug, you okay, buddy?
Experiencing technical difficulties.
Did he fall?
Did he fall?
What'd you say, Doug?
I can't
say
hear
that
you.
again, Doug.
We might have lost you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he tried to put his Bluetooth stuff on. Can you hear us now? Hey, Doug, go in and go out if you need to restart yourself. But, hey, Mikey.
Yes, sir.
I have a feeling that one of the reasons why you slept so good after Wednesday night was those nice wheels that we were using to get your boat to and from the vehicle. What kind of wheels were those? Well, I can't remember what they were. What kind of wheels were those?
Those were Southern West Virginia specials. Those are mule sled track. That's what they were.
So yeah, well, I'm out on the water because I go up the day early, and Mikey's out. I see this big dude, and he's walking like he's bent over, and he's got something behind him. Look behind him, he's dragging a boat, and I can see that boat just leaving a big sand wake in front of it. He's dragging that much sand.
I'd kill a normal man. I'm just telling you.
So he was dragging that old new canoe across the sand, and what would you say, Tony? That's about 150 yards from the road to the.
Yeah.
Hard
yards.
Initiation.
Yeah. Needless to say, we went to Fish USA, and I got me some wheels after the third day. That was a little, or the second day. That was a little too much.
Yeah, so that's good. So shout out. Who did you get the wheels? They are Yak Attack.
They're Yak Attack.
So
they are the stow and go. And I tell you, I love them. They're really light, and they come apart real easy. They put back together real easy, and they store right there in the back of the boat and don't get in the way. It's I really like them.
Cool. I mean, the first day that you had them, when we were me, Tony, and Doug, we had our wheels on. We were rolling, and you were still sitting back here trying to put it together. But day two, the second day, you were already rolling into halfway to the trucks when we were getting our boats still set up. You had that thing rocking and rolling, figured it out quick.
So everything that I do is a first, right? So that was the first time that I had tried to lift a kayak and put it on the cart. So I messed that all up. Y'all didn't see it because you were already gone. But yeah, the whole thing was a huge learning experience.
Well, I know Tony really he gave you a lot of tips and tricks beforehand. Did he give you any tricks?
Tremendous.
Well, how about this one? Did he help you here? So I mean,
taking pictures of them.
He kept saying, "Be the fish, be the fish." And I fell in.
All right, so you're going to have to tell us your story there. How did you end up in the water?
Well, I tell you, so we're out there fishing, and I look back, and there is a black cloud coming our way. And I'd already checked the radar, so we're getting ready to get hammered. I mean, like red and yellow colors coming across on the storm front. And I'm looking around me, and you got a few kayaks, but you have mostly motorized boats and stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm the only one out here that doesn't have a motor, so I can't outrun this thing. And so everybody's fishing till the last minute. So I start paddling in. I paddle, probably within 50 yards of the bank. And while I'm sitting there, I anchored. I decide, well, this thing's really stable. It's got the rotating 360-degree seat. I can turn all the way around. I can stand up on the back. I can stand up on the front. I wonder if I can stand up and then turn around while I'm standing up. The answer to that is no. My heel caught something, and I knew there was no hope for me at all. So I just bailed. I just jumped, and I tried to keep the kayak upright, which I was successful in keeping it from flipping over. But
yeah. I'm gonna tell you that move right there was a wise and experienced kayak fishing maneuver, because
I was just trying to save my stuff.
That's it. I mean, as you go along, you're gonna learn. I mean, I don't care to get wet. I don't want to lose a $300 rod setup times 2 or 3. Some guys, this Tony knows, and Doug especially. I mean, some guys will carry 10, 12 rods. So the other thing that you learned is reentry. What method did you do? That's important.
Feel method,
right? So I mean, they said I was wet behind the ears. I might as well get all the way wet, right? If I'm already wet behind the ears. So the water's up to my chest. I mean, if you look at the picture, there's no putting your foot up on the side. There's no, I'm deep in the water. There's no little, crawl up. No. So it took me a couple times. The first time I almost flipped the boat on top of me, but then I realized that I needed to do a press up and push the boat underneath me and then lay all the way across it. And that's what I did. I just, I sold out completely to pressing the boat down under me and pushing it basically to my waist and then falling across the boat to keep it from capsizing.
Cool.
And that got me on there.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like your first experience was riveting one. You got
to pay your dues, man. You got to pay your dues now.
So, you're 4 days up there fishing. What was your best fish?
I caught a 20-inch smallmouth. That was my best fish, and I didn't even know they made them that big.
Yeah.
But she was sitting on a bed, and we're sight fishing, and I saw her. She was super aggressively defending that bed, super aggressive, and it just took me a few times throwing that Ned rig. And
so you were throwing a Ned rig setup. What
yes,
was you throwing? Was you throwing the Buddy Vance Special Pink Edition?
I was.
So you can see it well.
Okay. Hey man, I ain't making up nothing. I ain't reinventing the wheel. Tony
Amen.
and Buddy and Doug told me what to throw, and I'm throwing.
Yeah.
So,
Amen.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
And she hit it, and as soon as she took it, man, I knew it was a good one. She turned sideways, and I was like, "Wow, that's a big fish. That's a big fish."
That's awful, Brandy. That's awful.
I'm assuming she was talking about Buddy's. Yeah.
Hey, Tony. Tony, let's talk about your experiences up here this year. I mean, we've been up the last 3 years together. Based off,
I tell you, now I've been talking up to them, tell them, oh man, you're going to catch all kind of fish. They're huge. Fish going to be everywhere. We get there, had the roughest time catching. All we were catching were red eyes. And then finally, some of them started coming in, and
right.
Well, first of all, they had to learn how to see the fish on the bed and where to look. And they did that.
Nice.
And it didn't take them long before they actually, started catching some. But
yeah, you could tell the difference from the two different type of beds.
Right.
Yeah.
But later on in the trip, it started to turn around. Fish started coming in, and we started catching them. But early on, it was scarce.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the last day that we left is when you really could see the black spots in the water where they were coming in, making them big, dark, black splotches. And I can remember Buddy's words: "If it's black, pitch in it."
Right.
And but yeah, that's cool. So, your big fish for the week.
Well, I didn't do as well as I had been, but I think it was either 18 and a half or 18 and 3/4 was my largest one. But I caught a lot of them.
You did, yeah.
From 17 to 18.
Well,
so
I mean,
a lot of numbers, but I didn't get anything big.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Dougie. Let's talk about your time on the water. Yeah, how was your trip? Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
Hey, Doug. Let me check your volume on your. I don't have no sound. We can't hear you, Doug. You may have to come out and come back in and check your settings on your mic.
Yeah.
Nope, can't hear nothing from buddy. Okay, so Tony, tell us a little bit more about the techniques you used. I know you were catching quite a of the group of the four of us. It seemed like you had the best week up there. I mean, you were on fish all the time. You were catching fish. I was never close enough to you to catch you on any video, but tell us a little bit about how you were attacking the beds and what it did to what you did to get them to bite.
Yeah, like I say, I mainly I use the Ned rig, the Buddy Special, the Stinky Pinky.
Yeah,
and I also used a green and a white. But what I did was I cut it down,
right,
make it smaller, because they kept hitting it, jerk and miss it. So I just cut it off. So just leave a little bit just to cover up the hook, and then they start biting it. But the ones you can kind of tell if they hit at it, you kind of look to see where your bait was, because there was times it was like I was running right down the side edges of the bed, and some of them seemed like they were hitting more right on the edges of the bed. So that's why I kept doing that. But what you do is you just Go around, you look for a bed, you see one in there, like they say, if you see a dark spot, throw in there. And
Right.
there's sometimes you couldn't see if the fish was in there or not, depending on how close you were to it. So I would just throw to those spots and just drag it across there. And sometimes I would hop it across and also use the drop shot. I caught a few on that. But that's mainly what I was doing was the Ned rig and a drop shot.
Nice. All right, Doug, you got any volume there, buddy?
I hope so. Am I on there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got you, buddy.
All right.
Hey, so tell us about the techniques that you used this week.
Well, I tried doing the bobber thing in front of the fish on the bed, but I really wasn't having a lot of luck finding the fish on the beds. Of course, we had 30, 40 boats out there just ripping them up also. So I ended up switching around a little bit. I talked to Buddy about it, and I went over to this little spot down on the other end that had 2 big old grass beds on it, and I just fished the edges of the grass beds. And I, didn't have to worry about seeing them because I wasn't that close. So I went to, my normal Senko setup, Ned Rid Senko setup, with a green pumpkin and some flake in it. And next thing I know, I'm catching nice largemouth and some good smallies and that. And that's basically where I was all the time, because except for, my big fish, which was about, I want to say about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, and a lot of the boats had gone in, and its water had smoothed out. So I started doing the bed searching, and I found this nice little fish on the bed, and I thought, well, I'll try with that. So I had the little pink nub on a Ned rig and dropped it in there, and she kept blowing it out, and I dropped it in, and she blowing it out. Well, I had the Senko's already on another pole, so I said, well, that's when you can blow out. Let's try this one. I threw it in the hole, and she immediately picked it up, set the hook. Fight was on. I got to tell you, smallies fight better than largemouth all the way around.
Especially up there. I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were. I think that's why my shoulder hurt, not more than anything else. And I, catching the fish, and they were tearing me up. But I ended up with a personal best 20-inch, so I'm not going to complain about it. It was, ended up with good weather, even though we had that storm come through Saturday in the middle, but we planned it. Get out there and fish a little bit, go back in with a storm, take our kayaks, put them up on the beach. A couple of us used anchors and left them there, and some others didn't, but, come back out after the storm left and gathered our stuff and came back out again.
Well, I mean, I did leave an anchor out. It was a
Sure you did.
Or it was a Ned rig with a heavy
Ned rig,
rig weight.
And you were hoping and praying on that one, weren't you?
It worked.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
Yeah, they got somebody else's boat was down there, right?
Thank goodness. Tony been using that 1103 to go down to the end of the bay to get my boat.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to do that bed fishing, but I really couldn't see them, so I decided to go in the water to get a closer look. That's why I was in the water. I didn't fall out.
Oh, here we go.
I was going down to look at the bed and forgot I had my auto inflate on, and it blew up on me. So as you can see in the picture,
it does look like you're looking down right there.
Well, yeah. But, in seriousness, when I capsized in that, I've been over before, right, Tony? So I know what it's like and what to do, but I had everything leashed and tied in, so I lost nothing other than, a little bit of pride. But, hey, my age, you don't worry about that too much. But
So the story behind that was how was the story that went behind that earlier? You were telling us?
As far as going down there, I was trying to see the bed and the fish on the bed, and I thought I saw a really, really big one. Well, when I went over in the water to check it out, I ended up seeing 3 red eyes in a row. So it looked like a big smallie, but it wasn't. So.
Were they blowing you kisses?
I'm sticking with that one. Sorry.
Now, do you want to know the real story?
Oh, Tony's always got one.
Tell it, Tony. Tell it.
He was actually fooling around with his anchor, and he tipped over a little bit too far. And then
gravity took hold. Right.
Well, see, he likes being in the water, though. So this is about his 3rd or 4th time.
Hey, And what's bad about that is he had to do it when the worst weather was blowing in. That's what's. I get over and I look at Mike. Mike's like, he's watching you guys, and I look back and I see Doug in the water. I'm like, is Doug in the water? He's like, yep. Tony's over there helping him. I'm like, oh my, when'd that happen? I was just
over there helping you. Tony was over there filming
taking pictures.
Somebody had to document it.
Well, but luckily we had no videos, right, Mike? Nobody saw us going in. They just saw after we were in there, so we can make up how we got in there any way we want.
Yes.
Lucky you. I would have loved to have some Versa 360 of that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it was good times.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, what did you take away from your experience up there for 4 days?
Man, I just I've been working really hard, and we were shorthanded, and just spending a lot of time. My kids are athletes, and I just it was great to get away and relax, and you know those guys drove, so I didn't have to worry about Tony drove up there and back, and it was just a really relaxing vacation, getaway, and then you know, to catch those types of fish. I mean, that I may never catch another fish that large in my life. I'm gonna give it a shot, but
not till next May.
I may never. Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, you know, fishing in general is just it's a reflection of life, I think, overall, because you have to go at it alone. And especially with kayak, you know, they can give you all the advice and they can give you equipment and put you in the right direction. But when you're out there on the water in your boat, the only thing that you got with you is the knowledge that you have, some instinct, and some advice. And then it's up to you to make it happen.
Exactly.
Just like life, it's up to you to make it happen.
Good point. Good point.
Right.
So, I mean, Tony got you into this. I mean,
yeah.
I've been trying to get
Tony's
you into
got me into a few things.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah, no, it was. I told him, you know, peer pressure gets you every time. I drive to Beckley and buy a boat, and but it's good it's good pressure, man. I need somebody to make me have a good time from time to time, and I always have a good time with Tony, and he's always, you know, been around and giving me advice, and he's been a good friend for 30 years.
Awesome.
Hadn't been that long.
Give away his age.
Hey, man. 95, brother.
Oh, woo.
Ooh.
95.
Ooh.
That's crazy. It's been that long.
29 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get down into the weeds or into the water.
I will say one thing: the water was comfortable. It wasn't cold, and that it was quite enjoyable.
Yes.
Well, you sure did stay in there a long time.
Well, you know, I had to make sure I got everything right, get myself off, and get that thing off my neck. Because the other time when I went in the Greenbrier, I had an auto inflate, and it didn't auto inflate. So yeah. I'm glad to see this one work.
Yeah,
Well,
I like
talking about how that thing would inflate, and then you proved it.
Well,
yeah.
Showed it worked, right?
Right.
I wasn't wild about the color, but, you know, I can't pick or choose that, so. But
so have you replaced your CO2 cartridges and got it ready for the next trip yet?
Not yet. I'm getting ready to do that here this week, get some more cartridges in and fold it back up, put it back in there, and get it done. It's a good vest. It's a Mustang brand. It's one that's used by people out on the ocean, you know, like when you're sailing that, because it's got those harness rings that you can hook yourself to the boat or something else. And
yeah,
so,
I liked how you had that thing set up with your equipment, with your scissors and your
scissors and my nippers and
pliers
and my whistle. Don't forget the whistle. I had to have the whistle.
Definitely well set up.
Yeah. But I'll be back next year for sure. I
Definitely.
think
I hope so.
I think in looking back on it, we got out there Wednesday night to see how Mike would like the kayak and that. Next thing I know, we're unloading all the kayaks and everything and getting going fishing. And we caught some fish right off top
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But I noticed as the days went on, more and more fish were coming in and sitting on the beds. Um, and I heard from Buddy that Sunday was a nasty day, bad day. I mean, as far
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
fishing goes and weather and all that. So I think we were a little bit in front of the spawn. That's just my opinion.
I believe you're right. I'd say this week would be the week to be
Wow.
up there.
Can you
And
imagine? Yeah.
I imagine Buddy. And we haven't mentioned Buddy, but normally he's out there with us in the kayaks with us. But I mean, kudos to him. I think it's great that he took his dad up there.
Yeah.
Made some memories with his dad and
In his dad's boat.
Yeah, in his dad's boat, and they were at it. And speaking of which, you're right, Doug. He says we were in front of it. So they're probably just the big wave is coming in now.
Well, Buddy caught a lot of fish.
Yeah,
And I think the only reason he caught a lot of fish is because Curtis was a good net man.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Dad, keep the net.
Yeah, Brandy, and we hope you choose to come up with us next year and don't go to Gunnersville with Buddy next year. Come up
Right.
with us.
Yeah, come up with us.
Well, we're going to start wrapping this show up, guys. Doug, you got anything you want to tell the group about coming up that are watching? I know we got the Mountain Mission tournament coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Mountain Mission, that's a big tournament in July. That's a big charitable event where we actually pin the clubs against each other so you get bragging rights.
Right.
And it's smallmouth territory. We're going to be fishing rivers, and so we'll take some of my experience for this to go back and maybe I can do something this year there. But we've got a few more tournaments still, live tournaments, and we do online tournaments also where you can fish anywhere you want. So it makes it real flexible for everybody else.
So, guys and gals, if you're interested, go look up on Tourney X, Southern West Virginia Kayak Anglers, or go to look up SWVKA, or just look up West Virginia tournaments. I'm sure you'll find Doug's group there. So.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to shout out, Doug?
Well, I just, like I said, I'm going to be back up Presque Isle next year because, 2 years ago I missed it because of a trip and fall, and about did it this time too, only on a trailer, and same thing, but hopefully I can keep myself upright better and I won't land in the water. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. And with these two guys, Tony and Mike, I'm looking forward to doing more stuff, even locally, or maybe some more travel to maybe Santee Cooper or something like that.
Yeah, I tell you, that's a great place to go. I'll recommend Black's
You'll have
Camp.
to drive.
Black's Camp.
Or Gunnersville, maybe even there. I don't know.
Sarah, we definitely would welcome you into our kayak fishing community here in West Virginia. And if you have any questions, look up Doug or myself, Tony or Mike. Mike's new, but I'm sure he can provide you with some good information as well. So, Buddy, hey, yes, Susquehanna.
Susquehanna, there's an idea. Yeah.
Hey, now, guys,
just don't bring Mike Shaker with you.
Here's what we
Chris Shaker, not Mike. Chris.
Hey, Mike, you might want to have a motor for that event. It might help you a little bit there on the river.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's a great place. Chris Davis is saying to look at Smith Mountain Lake over in Virginia. Now, I'd say that Mikey's got some experience over there, being a Southern West Virginia boy from the Shady area. He may have made a trip or two when he was a kid over to Smith Mountain. It's like
we never did. We never did. We really fished Bluestone every chance we got. We spent summers 2 weeks at a time up at Conference Center and miners vacation. My granddad worked in the mines and got his family and everybody started fishing, and we spent a lot of time on Bluestone.
I tell you that section of water from Bull Falls down to the conference center is probably some of my favorite water.
Yes, sir.
Shanklin's a great area, but
Yeah.
I've always liked the Bull Falls area. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Smith Mountain is a good place to go if you're really big into the striper fishing.
Yes,
I
exactly.
mean, great stripers. I mean, I know. Let's see, Brandy says she would cook tacos. Ooh,
Whoa! If we go up, okay, I'm in.
yeah.
I'm in.
Well,
Tuesday tacos. You betcha.
you
What do you
need
think,
to
Tony?
go ahead, buddy. You guys need to go ahead and schedule that. We're ready to go. We got 6 of us. Wait, I think this gentleman here might want to join us this year.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
Greg.
Hey,
Greg. And Greg,
Sorry
we're
man.
we're sorry that you missed this year, and we're definitely sorry for the reason why. Nothing but love for you and your family, and definitely probably see you tomorrow afternoon. So, all right. So, Mikey, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just kayak fishing it's opened something up, for me, and I've put off doing it, but you can get into kayak fishing without all the extra stuff. You don't, you can. I did the whole week and had a great time. I didn't have any motorized equipment. I didn't have
No
any
electronics.
fish finders, no electronics. Anything. The boat was light, but I still was out there, and it's just an avenue to expand. It's a tool to get you into more ways to catch fish.
Amen, brother. Amen. Thank you, sir. Tony, wrap it up for us.
Hey, one, I appreciate what you're doing, bringing everything to light like this, because a lot of people, they'll see this and they'll get to experience, like I believe it was Sarah Cripps, like
Yes,
that.
Sarah.
See the adventures that we had and how much fun that we had. That can draw other people into the sport as well. So, but I just want to say, we had a good time while we were gone. We had a lot of laughs, and it was just a great time.
I agree. And I mean, it's a sport that brings people together that normally might not spend time together. I mean, me, you, and Mikey, we've known each other for years, but I mean, I've never been to your place or been to Mike's because we live in different parts of the state. We've worked different parts of the state, but we still knew each other. And how did we know that we had a shared passion like this until after we retired from our old jobs? I mean, so it's awesome. I mean, so now we have an avenue to go out and do things together. And like this young man here, Chris, he just retired from the military, and he's looking to get into fishing. Chris, if you watched the show, Doug runs the Southern West Virginia Kayak Anglers. That's the group I was telling you about in Facebook Messenger. So make sure you go look up Doug's group, and they got some tournaments left this year. And it's not all about. Granted, the club scene is a tournament scene, but it's not all about just the tournaments. Tournaments just a way to bring people together, but you can still have a lot of fun, at the campsite the night before or at the award ceremony, talking to people, eating dinner, relaxing, and talking about your day. And then somebody's lucky enough to take home a small payday. So, yeah, definitely look them up. And Doug runs a great group, and go from there. So, guys, nothing but love for you. I hope we can do this again over the summer. Sit down and talk about other adventures. And I appreciate you coming on the show. Nothing but love for all of you. Be blessed, and I wish you well.
Thanks
for having us.
Man, y'all take care.
All right, so we're going to wrap things up here on the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. I really appreciate all you guys hanging out with us tonight. As Doug, Tony, and Mike will attest to, make sure that you're prepared for anything on the water. Make sure you're wearing your PFD because, as Mike and Doug can attest to, stuff happens. You'll end up in the water before you know it, and you want to make sure that you get to come home safe and your buddies can laugh about it with you. Always wear your PFD and dress appropriately. Fortunately for us, it's May. The water temperatures were near 70 degrees. So it's not like we were worried about any hypothermia situations. But March, April timeframe, you need to worry about that. So make sure you dress appropriately and do the right things. Anyway, John Rapp with the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. Make sure you go like, follow, and subscribe. Wish you all the best. Be blessed, and we'll see you next Tuesday night.